Today is the day to wake, work, and win. Welcome to the Standard.
What are you doing?
I need you to look at something in my butt.
Why?
I think I got something in there, and I'm not limber enough to see. I need you to look at it, all right? I think I might have like a anal fissure or a hemorrhoid or a worm or something.
What are you doing with your phone?
I'm trying to take pictures of it so I can compare it to something on Google.
Can we just keep, just a small shred of mystery in our relationship, please?
Look, I saw you have 2 babies, okay? Seriously, I need you to get up all in that.
I do not want to investigate your anus.
It's payback time.
It's a hemorrhoid.
Thank you. Now erase that from your memory.
Oh, man. Craig, I'm turning 40 this year. And
I am not looking at your hemorrhoids.
no, but I tell you what, that movie, This Is 40. We were watching that last shift. I've probably seen that 3 or 4 times now. Man, it is so accurate. It's kind of depressing. Not that I'll save my wife the embarrassment. I haven't asked her to do that for me.
Sure.
But man, there's so many things in that movie that are so accurate.
You know what's kind of interesting is the comfort that brings of how universal we feel like our problems are, and they're really not that personal. Kind of everyone seems to.
Yeah,
go
you're not
through,
alone. You're not alone.
Yeah, it's like it's just the human condition to experience a lot of these things. But yeah, man, I got a few years to go until that hits. But that movie definitely brings out some feels, man.
Just the kid, like the daughters, that older daughter in that movie, how just you can tell she's going through puberty. She's going through just the social pressures of school, and it's like, oh man, that is so accurate.
Makes me nauseated feeling like that's in my future.
Man, it was. There's just so many funny parts to that movie.
One part that I actually really liked was they have one of the artists, Graham Hancock. Is he a real artist? Is that a real thing?
I don't know.
Is he a real
I
musician?
looked that up.
Graham Parker.
In the rumor.
Graham Hancock
Is he
a
real?
scientist. Yeah.
Is it real?
Yeah.
Okay.
True story. Anyways.
I love where he's like, hey, how'd the records do? And he's like, no, they didn't do good. And he's like, I told you, man, stuff never sells.
Yeah. Well,
It's like, that would have been nice to know.
I think one thing he says is like the key is to have a small nut.
That's true. Small.
I
He's
was
like,
like-
my overhead's nothing.
So then you look at how stressed out Paul Rudd is in the movie, and he's driving a BMW.
Wife drives a Lexus.
Wife drives a Lexus. He's living in a big ass house with a pool and
Loaning thousands of dollars to his dad. He's
yeah,
just blowing it.
and he has this office that is like decorated to the nines. And Paul Rudd says something to the effect of, you can't sign anybody unless they walk in here and they think you're legit. And I think that is such a trap people get into where like, hey, if I don't have X, people aren't going to take me seriously. Or, whatever that is for your industry. And that's bullshit, man.
It's all word of mouth. You work hard and...
Well, the proof is in the pudding.
Right. You produce.
Yeah.
There's some element to having your shit together and being organized.
Right.
But
I was looking at...
that's putting the cart before the horse when you have, like you said, like this nice space. It's like, well, who are you even representing?
Well, I think it goes, beyond that. Like, I've done some remodels now, and when I see a contractor pull up in a $90,000 truck, and I'm like, I don't. I
You know
don't
what
know
I
if I.
you know what I first think?
Huh.
Like, man, I must be getting overcharged if I go with this guy.
Well, I just, like-
somebody's got to pay for that.
No shit. And I'm like,
Right.
well, he clearly doesn't have his fucking shit together. Whereas, like I have worked with a few guys who show up in an old truck or in a van or whatever, and they do
How
fantastic.
about the
work.
guy who did the car details for us?
Oh, dude, yeah, he's a great example.
He showed up in an SUV with, I mean, not the best,
Yeah.
but jam packed with all his stuff.
Yeah.
It's like clearly not, there's no wrap on his car saying he's
Right.
doing detail, and he was good, man.
It's fantastic.
And then now he's going to get more business because it's all word of mouth.
Yeah, and I bet you when he goes home, he parks that thing and then we
Maybe.
drive something nice.
Yeah.
But the flashy stuff is I find it like doing the opposite of what they think it's doing. Where I'm just like, dude, you don't need that truck. Like you're not hauling anything, and you have like a $90,000 Denali. Like, what are you charging me for?
I know, right? I was actually just starting to laugh because I was thinking of the scene where the two guys are going after that, model looking girl in the pool at the end.
Oh my gosh, hi. Me, oh my, I did not see you there.
Hi.
I saw you there.
Did you guys come together? Are you a couple?
No, we didn't. No, absolutely not.
I'm sorry. I thought it was the mustache is a little.
That's fair.
I just assumed.
This is a straight man mustache.
What is the difference between a gay man's mustache and a straight man's mustache?
The smell.
Oh man.
That movie was fantastic.
Did
it's
you
really-
know? Did you know that? So it's Leslie Mann, right? Isn't that her name? Wife?
Yeah.
So the producer, that's the producer's
Those are her
wife.
kids.
Those are her kids.
Yeah.
And the producer is her husband.
Yeah.
It's like, I always wondered, like, well, why didn't he just be the dad? I mean, I know probably because he wanted to produce, but it's like, that was,
I think
Paul Rudd did a pretty damn good job, man.
Oh.
He's stressed out the entire movie.
Yeah. But that's all. I mean, that is the life of a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's getting in over your head. I mean, we were maybe late 20s, and we just had, or actually, Sarah was pregnant with our second kid. We lived in a great area, up and coming area, big lot. Like, we got this dream house when the market went down, and we remodeled it. It was like dream kitchen. Like, never thought we'd have that. Never thought we'd get the house, And it was a couple years in, we're like, this sucks.
What do you mean?
We're not necessarily living paycheck to paycheck, but we're stressed about every purchase we make.
Right.
You got to find a deal on everything. Like anytime you swipe the credit card, you're thinking about it. You got a couple kids at home. You're working your ass off, and you're not enjoying anything because, I mean, to an extent, house poor.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple car payments, small as they were, and it just got to the point. It's like, you know what? We're gonna downsize. So we end up selling and moving. We had nothing that we didn't need at our new place, right?
Yeah.
It was the perfect size. Got into the burbs a little bit, got a little space. Kids could run around. But I mean, it's just like, that is a stressful life living like that.
Yeah. I thought one thing that was kind of maybe the most true, or the thing that hit me the most about that movie was the ability to come back and get happy again,
And you're talking their marriage?
yeah.
I mean, is that how you've experienced that, right?
Yeah.
To a T almost, of just the roller coaster of a marriage and the ups and downs.
Yeah, you have these moments or seasons where you're like, dude, we're fucked. And then
You reconnect.
you reconnect and you're like, oh, you were feeling
It's-
that way too?
It's like, Oh, this is
Oh, no
this
shit.
is why we got married.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is actually really good.
So I think it was just like, hey, next time you're in one of those moments of like, fuck, just, what usually happens, you guys have a really good conversation, you try and see it from their angle, and then, oh, okay,
Oh.
I guess things
Pull up the clip where they're talking to each other. How the therapist told them to talk to each other, and she's confronting him about all the, the lies that he has.
This is not the clip you wanted, but
Let's hear it.
one was so fucking funny.
Very upset when I spoke to him about this. So I thought it was important that we join together and work this through.
Absolutely.
We're going to work through it. But Debbie told my son that he looked like Tom Petty in a negative way.
In a negative way.
Who's Tom Petty?
You know who Tom Petty
Who's
is.
Tom Petty?
And she said that if she had to come back, that she was going to F up his pussy ass, which is what she said.
Oh, are you serious? I didn't. I would never. To a child, your son has been defiling my daughter's Facebook page now for months.
These people are liars. He said that my son was an animal and that if I didn't keep him on a leash, that he would hit him with his car.
Did you say that?
That's ridiculous. Who talks like that?
You do.
All right,
He said it to
no,
me.
what I said was that we need to keep an extra eye on our kids because with all the technological advances, they need to learn to use them
Good PC
responsibly.
answer.
No. What he said to me was he called me an icon.
A what?
Language, Catherine,
I'm
language.
quoting. How am I going to relay what these two nutballs said to me unless I say it?
Can you please not talk like that, Catherine? Music Man is rehearsing next door.
Sorry, fucking music man. Maybe if I looked more like this fake bullshit couple, looks like they're in a bank commercial, that's what you look like. Like you're a bullshit bank commercial couple.
None of this talk is productive.
I would like to rear up and jackknife my legs and kick you both in the fucking jaw with my foot bone.
You're just really scaring me.
This is what happens when you corner a rat. You corner me, I will fucking chew through you. I'll chew through you.
Catherine, you're better than this.
Fuck you, Jill. You're a horrible fucking woman. This is why everybody hates you, Jill. This kind of shit, ineffective, fucking bullshit hair. And I'm glad your husband died. Because you're a fucking asshole. He probably killed himself.
Okay, Catherine, I think we know what's happening now.
Now you know what we're dealing with.
You know what was
Dropping
nice
my
about
kids.
that?
Sorry, dropping my kids off at school now, and I'm looking at all these other parents, and I'm like, who am I gonna get?
Yeah,
to
who's it gonna be?
Yeah.
Who's my wife gonna sick on that? you
Yeah,
know?
seriously.
Yeah. It made me smile when they walked out of that meeting, and they're kind of, because they're fighting.
Yeah, they're like, hey,
they're fighting,
we're awesome.
but they kind of got on the same team, and they're
Yeah.
walking away, and they just kind of smile, and it's like, we're still in this. We got some work to do, but we're still in this. That was pretty funny.
Having a mutual antagonist, I think, really brings people together.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. Work. Yeah.
no, I was thinking about like in the academy when you have that one instructor that everybody hates. Like that brings the team together.
Yeah.
And that do you guys do that on purpose?
No,
Like,
I don't,
hey, I'm going to be the asshole on this academy.
I don't think in any ones that I taught that
Oh, okay.
it was never on purpose.
Yeah.
I definitely, in a few of them, was the heavy, but by the end, I think the guys would say like at least I'm friends with a lot of them now. But by the end, it was like, okay, like he wants to have fun, but he wants us to be good and bust our ass. But I do want to have fun. I do want to joke around.
For anyone who's teaching an academy, just to suggest, I've been through a lot. So here's a suggestion. We had such a piece of shit in ours, and he stayed that way throughout the whole thing. And then you get online and they try and be like buddy or like really professional. And I'm like, dude, I saw you for 16 weeks being a complete sack of shit. And now you're trying to like try and be professional and like I know who you are, man.
Yeah.
So my suggestion for anyone who's teaching an academy is just like you can be hard on people, and obviously you need to do all the work with those the people that you're doing, but you need to remember that those are your coworkers
Big time.
when they're done.
Yeah.
And
big time.
and they might be your boss one day. You know?
Yeah, I mean, because I've got coworkers now that were instructors in my academy, and some you respect and some you don't, and not for the reasons you might think going to the academy of just job performance. It's just pretty much how they treat people. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent.
What was the clip you were looking for, though?
Sorry.
Can we please talk to each other the way the therapist told us to talk to each other?
Fine. Fine. It makes me feel sad when you are dishonest.
I understand it makes you feel bad when I am dishonest with you. It hurts my feelings when you treat me with contempt and corner me and try and trick me into lying.
Okay. It makes me sad when it's so easy to trick you into lying because you're such a lying shitbag.
That's not, you can't do that. You can't do that. The therapist said you're not allowed to judge me.
That's not a judgment, that's just a fact.
Fair enough. Sometimes I withhold truth. That is true. But it's only because I'm scared to death of your crazy-ass, illogical overreactions.
Well, it hurts me inside and triggers me when you're such a dishonest shit that you're lending your father money without telling me while your record company's going bankrupt and we're on the verge of losing our fucking house!
Well, that pretty much says it, right? That's what we were talking about earlier, right? Oh, it's so funny. I mean, because I'm guilty of it, as I think everybody else is, but I'm guilty of childish arguments at some point in my marriage.
I'm not guilty of that.
You're bullshit.
Perfect husband.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Just because you just had an anniversary.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, you are roommates, right? Like there is a level of that of,
dude, being married to someone with kids and the stress, it's fucking hard.
Yeah. And that
I get why people give up, but I also think, it's a decision to keep to your commitment. I know there's more into it. Because there's reasons, there's reasons why. I mean, if it just doesn't work, it doesn't work. If people change or they don't want to work through things, but it's hard. It's hard fucking work, man. So I can see both sides when divorces happen. I get it.
Yeah. I think it goes back to, and we talked about purpose versus passion a couple episodes ago, but when part of your purpose is to be a husband and be a part of that marriage, and again, this is all so personal. Like, I come from a divorced family. My sister's been divorced a couple of times. Like, I know that this is a much more complicated topic, right? Than we're letting on, and it's so easy to be like, well, you made a promise, but
all right, so
maybe
so disclaimer, just talking about our own experience.
Totally right.
Yeah.
Like, I feel for people who are dealing with, hey, I got married to the wrong person, or hey, that person changed, or I changed and they didn't. There's a lot that goes along with it. I mean, we have someone close to us who's going through a divorce right now, and he's one of the greatest dudes I know.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy they're getting a divorce because it's the right move.
Yeah, you can see kind of the weight lifted off.
Totally.
It can ruin more than just your home life,
Yeah, I mean, so all that aside, having both people having the common goal of fixing issues just makes all the difference in the world.
Man, when I see, we were on a call the other day, and the couple, I think, was 67 years or something. Holy shit, man, that is impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
anything over, 30's pretty, that's something to write home about, but anything over 40, I think my parents they're coming up on 50.
Damn.
They gotta be. Yeah, so another 3 years, I think. So 75, I think they got married. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's getting close to 50, and it's like, shit, man. And my wife's parents, they've been married quite a while too. So I mean, I think they're either coming up on 40 or they're over 40 already. I mean, that's
you know, that has something to do with where you guys are at. Like you both came from households where dual parents that have stayed married. Do you think that has any effect on like how you?
I think so. Here's a big thing that I think affected me is I grew up in not a perfect house. I saw my brothers and sisters fight. We fought, and there was a lot of screaming, a lot of unhealthy. There was some unhealthy
Who comes
dysfunction,
from a perfect house though?
right? But we all loved each other in the end.
Yeah.
I saw my parents fight.
Did you see them make up?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
And then I saw the relationship still last.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like this perfect thing where they kept all the conflict from us, and then boom, it was like it's over. It's like what?
Yeah.
It was. I consistently saw conflict as a result of all kinds of stresses, financial stresses, job stresses, kids. You know,
Right.
I saw them consistently come up, but they still stayed married. And you know, now they're getting older, and honestly, like they're made for each other. I mean, they are just like one whole. And it's
awesome.
pretty cool to see. Like they do things different than I do, for sure. I do things differently than they do, but guess what? Like they got their shot at it. They raised their kids a certain way. They had a family a certain way. They ran their marriage a certain way, and now they're doing what they want. And now we're in that boat where it's like, okay, now it's our turn. But it is impressive to see long marriages, and not just because maybe it's less frequent these days. It's just impressive, man. That's a commitment. It's hard
Yeah.
because, like you said, you become roommates sometimes, and you'd like to reignite that passion that you had in the very beginning, because that's fun too.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
You know? My wife was out to lunch with a friend the other day in mid-30s or whatever. She's got a partner, right? She's not going to marry this guy, but they've been together for years, and she's like, I'm never getting married. I don't believe in it. She thinks that by getting married, you become more of a security blanket. You take that person more for granted. My other side of that is like, yeah, but man, I mean, how many times would people walk away from relationships if there wasn't that marriage or disillusion of marriage or all that stuff they'd have to deal with, you know? But she's like, no, I don't believe in it, but super committed. I mean, they are married by law, common law, right? But it's just an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah, I'm out on that. I love being married. Like I think there's like a weight to it and responsibility that I just don't think you have when you're dating.
I wouldn't say they're dating, though.
Sure they are.
No, come on. Look, now you're just making it more like black and white. So you're either dating or you're married. I mean, they live together, they've been together, they've established this.
I'm not saying that they're not committed, but they're not married.
But is marriage just an institution that is formed out of more of a religion, from a faith than really is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
mean, that's the basis of it.
They could feel the same weight that we do being married, though.
Yeah, I can only see it from my perspective, but like there's something that happened.
Pretty close-minded, Craig.
Yes. That is something that happens. Like I felt it when I got engaged. I was like, oh man, this is fucking, and maybe it's because I was raised Catholic and I have a different view of it. And there's also I don't know if it's, you always want to do better than your parents, but there's this like pressure that I put on myself, I think in a good way, to be like, oh, I'm not giving up. Like,
there's definitely some responsibility when you have kids, though, to keep a home somewhat sane and together. And that doesn't mean that you can't divorce and have two homes. Like if you have two functional homes and the relationship's good, I think things can turn out all right. But
Nah,
I
man.
think
I
it's
disagree.
much easier for. It's just a better situation if you're able to keep the home life stable for the kids. But there's a point where it just you stay together, but you're fighting all the time, and
that's not a healthy
either.
house to
Right.
be in.
Right.
But also when your parents get divorced, regardless of how seamless you make the transitions of picking people up and having time away, it fucks kids up. And it fucks kids up having a shitty home life like you're talking about too. Like it's not like, oh, as long as you keep both people in the house, things are going to be good.
Yeah, that can be actually worse off.
But it is, I think it's damn near impossible to have two separate homes and be as successful as a healthy dual parent house.
Yeah.
Like you're always like, well, I give it up to my parents. They didn't talk shit about each other. They very well could have.
That takes some maturity.
And, like we'd go over to my dad's house and he never said mom about my mom. And she very well could have said some shit that we found out later in life. But, nothing but respect for.
So you just had your anniversary. How many years?
9.
They say it's that 5 to 7 year.
I never had that.
Never had that. I don't think I never had that, but I've definitely had these roller coaster. I mean, just when kids started, that's when a lot of roller coasters started, and you're kind of learning as you go. That's the tough part.
Well, you're learning how to be a parent. You're also learning how to be a spouse.
Yeah, you got to figure out the needs and how to balance that.
Yeah.
We got married, obviously, early 20s, like I said, and I mean, how much do you change going through your 20s?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, you do. And so it's like then there's an extra challenge. I think, there's two sides to it, right? If you get married younger, you're going to change, and the challenge is changing together. But if you get married older, when you get older, you become set in your ways. And so you might marry someone when you're older, and you're like, I'm not changing, you know? And so that could end a relationship too.
What would be like a bit of advice you'd give to like a newly married or engaged couple?
You know what? Okay, so my one piece of advice is talk about parenting.
Before you get married?
Yes. Like, what are your views on how to parent? Like, you have a baby. Do you believe have you thought about them crying it out? Do you believe in letting them cry it out? Or do you believe in like serving every one of their needs? Just what is your parenting style? Like, how much freedom do you want to give them when
if you're 20, dude, or 25?
I know. But
how do you know what those answers are?
At least think about them and talk through them, right?
Totally right.
I mean, how about something as simple as like, hey, if we get pregnant and
like
we don't expect it?
Yeah.
Where are we at with abortion? Where are we at with, are you keeping the kid? Whose choice is it? Like,
Yeah.
That's, we never had to deal with that, but we did talk about it after, and we just kind of brushed on the subject, but it's like those are things that can really.
That's real.
Create division.
Right.
Getting on the same page parenting is huge.
Yeah. Do you even want kids?
Well, yeah, that's right.
I think that and money.
How many do you want?
Yeah.
What does it look like when we start having kids? Like, who's working, who's not? What do you envision me to be? Like, what do you need from me as a wife? And when I'm home, like, what do you need from me as a provider? Do we both work? Is one working?
It's a lot.
It's a lot, But, man, when they go out, I don't know. I think it was their anniversary or they just went away for the weekend, and they start eating all the weed brownies and they start having fun. And then they pull back into the driveway. Like, they get back and like, oh, man,
that was so
nice. Great, and we should do that more often. Like, we really do love each other, And then they pull in the driveway and the older daughter opens the door and it's just like, welcome back to chaos. Yeah, the youngest daughter has an ear infection. She can't even get out of bed. She's crying, and it's like that's happened a lot, right? Things are good, and it's like, okay, back to reality. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you just constantly get tested. It's like how you, something that my wife and I have been doing for the last year, I'd say, is at night, like doing like a debrief. Like, hey,
Like you're in bed just debriefing, or like
Yeah.
you sit around a table with
That
a glass of
depends.
wine.
Whatever, however it works out.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, I've, like last night, fucking lost my mind.
Because of
And-
potty training?
Yeah. And I'm just like, we get the kids to bed, whatever. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to keep my shit together. And she's like, I get it too. We're good, like, and then it's usually ends with like, hey, good job today. Like, hey, we are starting at a place every day of trying to do well as a spouse and a parent, and we fuck up every single day. And it's just like, hey, at least we tried.
Yeah.
But I'd say like have like a honest debrief every now and again, just to be like, hey, where's your head at? Like,
Oh, man. Yeah.
it's hard, but I think that'd probably be my one bit of advice is, expect that whatever decision they made, as much as it pissed you off, it was probably done with good intention. They should always get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Bring up that clip on when they're sitting watching the play and she just found out she's pregnant.
She's so cute. She's so tall.
How did that happen?
Do you ever wish we had a bigger family?
No, never for a second. Never. Never.
Never.
Never. I love what we have. 1, breeze. 2, brutal. 3, put a bullet in my head. Oh. I think about that gray-haired pregnant lady from school, and I just feel bad for her. And I feel bad for the kid. Can you imagine? All the other little kids. Where's your mommy? Oh, she's the one sitting in that scooter eating a soft cracker. Kids don't want to have old parents. You know what? It would also be nice for us to spend some time apart, kind of rediscover who we are individually. It'd be so great to not see you for like a chunk of time so that I could really just miss you. Remember when we used to miss each other?
Oh, man. Can you imagine having teenagers and then we're having another kid?
Yeah, I know someone who had that same situation, and they are really grateful for it because
I think anybody,
Well-
you have a kid, it's like, I don't think no matter how old you are, it's like, you're always grateful for it.
No, I think there's like, yeah, of course you're going to be happy. But from his perspective, it's like when I had my 2 kids, I was fucking grinding to survive. And now I'm totally financially stable. I have all the time in the world. And this kid, I get to do all the stuff. I get to take him fishing whenever we want. I get to basically like go and have fun with them the way I wish I did with my other kids.
How much do you think? I mean, it's going to be way different for that kid though, because I don't know, kids seeing their parents grind has a positive effect too.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So
too early to
totally
tell.
different. Well, 2 totally different upbringings. Like I think
Oh yeah,
the outcomes will be completely different.
yeah, it'd be
Not-
pretty interesting.
Not bad, but
Yeah,
yeah, that's cool. See, I mean, he's basically got a grandparent mindset.
right,
That's what it is, but it's his own kid.
right. But
I mean, I'm still in the middle of
it,
kids, yeah,
Yeah.
but I do look forward to the grandparent part, other than getting old and
being close to death,
being like can't even bend over and everything hurts. But
that's.
I mean,
wow.
grandkids, I can see. I mean, I can totally see how grandparents love that, right? I mean,
Oh, to see my kid.
no
I mean,
stress and
we moved like a couple minutes away from my in-laws, and to see them just pop over just to hang out, like it's
Kids love
awesome,
it.
man.
It's a great experience because both my sets of grandparents lived far away, so we weren't too close to them only because of distance. But I mean, we had cousins that lived right across the street from them, and it was just like they were tight, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really, if you can foster that relationship. with
All mine were
grandparents.
dead except for my grandma who lived to 105.
Ooh.
And I'd say up until like her 90s, she was fucking tough, dude. Like second generation Irish immigrant. She lived on the south side of Chicago her entire life in that house that she, passed away in
Yeah.
pretty much. She only visited 3 states, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana. Like she's never went on an airplane. And she was just tough, dude. Hardcore Irish Catholic. I mean, she refused to acknowledge my sister's second marriage because she'd gotten a divorce.
Oh wow.
So like wouldn't talk. I mean, she was tough, dude. And then she started to soften up a little later in life. But
I was watching Real Sports,
mhm.
HBO, the other night, and it was Senior Olympics.
Oh, dude, I watched that.
See that?
I'm ready.
How about the? I think she was like 88 or something.
She was doing the javelin and
right, and she's got all these medals and everything. But then they start talking about her like, yeah, when I was in high school, I was super competitive.
Yeah.
I was the dirty player, and I was
Yeah.
throwing elbows. And they're like, you were? He's like, oh yeah, I was. And now she's just like, some people could sit around and play games and do all that stuff. It's like, I can't. Not me.
Yeah.
She's cleaning house.
I was talking to Ross. He wants to qualify for Boston, and you need some like ungodly time, and you're in the 30, 40 age bracket. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna wait till I'm like 90, and then I can just
Walk it.
basically walk it.
Then you're just like you're the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, they promote you just because you're the oldest guy there. This is 40.
Only getting better.
I'll give you that.